Yeah, so 4.5 years ago, I unexpectedly lost my husband, and due to COVID, unfortunately. And we were together 24 years, and we had an amazing relationship. And and just like that, it's like my world was shattered. It was turned upside down, and I had never felt so empty in my entire life. Just having lost him, had to sell our house, didn't have any place to go, not knowing where I was going to go. And I literally sat there in the middle of the floor in our house and just cried. So I came across the grief recovery method. But the thing is, I went into that program feeling so lost and so broken. But then when I came out of it, when I was done, I felt so much lighter. But even then, though, I still knew I needed something else. In my healing journey, still needed to move forward. And then I came across breathwork.
Welcome to Linda's Corner, where we bring more hope, healing, and happiness to the world. My name is Linda Bjork, and today we're going to be talking about heartbreak and healing. I'm delighted to welcome Brenda Mundt. Brenda is a transformation coach, grief recovery methods specialist, 9D breathwork facilitator, podcaster, and owner of Energized Life Wellness. You can reach Brenda at her website, energizedlifewellness.com, and I'll include that link in the show notes. Welcome, Brenda. I'm so glad that you could join with me today.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
I am grateful that you're here. And there's a lot of heartache in the world.
There
And
most certainly
you
is.
are no stranger to heartache. It's only been a few short years since you lost your husband and best friend. Would
Correct.
you mind sharing your story so that people can understand you get it? You get it from experience.
Yeah. So, uh, yeah, so 4.5 years ago, I unexpectedly lost my husband, and due to COVID, unfortunately. And we were together 24 years, and we had an amazing relationship. It's not that it's not that we didn't have our downs, we didn't have our moments, we did, but we always worked through everything, and always came out stronger on the other side. So we had an amazing relationship, and called ourselves the A team and everything. And he was just, he was like one of those people. It's like when I met him, it's like I knew. It's like we just had that connection. So there was without a doubt that he was my soulmate. There's no questions about that whatsoever. But yeah, so we had, when he got sick, tried managing things at home and everything, which was not happening. And the night the the night before, I ended up having to take him to the ER. I actually had thought he had passed away on me at home on the couch. And because I had woke up and he wasn't lying next to me, and I'm like, and I couldn't hear anything. I went out to the front room and he was laying on the couch and I could not hear him at all. And I'm like, oh my God. And I had actually thought he had died at home, but then all of a sudden he started breathing again. And I said to him, I'm like, this is not good. And he's like, I need to go to the ER. So got him to the ER, and because he had COVID, I was tested positive for COVID, but for me it was just a cold. It wasn't any big deal. I mean, it didn't feel like any big deal anyway. And so, when I got him to the hospital and everything, and so all they had to hear was the words COVID, and that was it. It's like they whisked him away from me. I really didn't get a chance to talk to him at all. And and I was masked and everything, so I had went into like the waiting area. They came out there and told me that I needed to leave.
No.
Yeah. So I went out to my car and I sat there, bawled my eyes out, called one of our friends, and I told him what was going on and everything. And I spent the 11 days not being able to see him. And
Oh.
thankfully he at least had his cell phone with him, so we were able, while he was still able to, we were able to text back and forth. But then once they incubated him, and then it was after that, it was not able to communicate with him at all, obviously. And the night before he passed, we were able to do virtual meetings with him and both the nurse in the room, and it was just a matter of, because it was me and my sister-in-law, and just a matter of just being able to just talk and hoping that he hears us. And then, like I said, the nurse was kind of communicating with us on how things were going for him during the day and all this kind of stuff. And the night before he passed, she had actually given us hope, right? She at least gave me hope, and I think she gave my sister-in-law hope as well. And so went to bed feeling pretty good. Like, okay, I'm like, okay, maybe he's turning a corner here, you know. And the next morning, I was at work, and I had gotten a phone call from a friend of ours, and that she'd asked, how he was doing everything. And then I told him, like I said, well, we did a, virtual meeting last night, and the nurse was there. She was kind of, I explained to her, everything that she had shared with us and how we left the visit feeling hopeful that he might pull through. 10 minutes later, my phone rings. It's the hospital telling me that his organs are shutting down and that he was dying. And and of course, it's like my legs turned to jello. My heart was racing a million miles an hour. I'm trying to get to a place where I can have some privacy and like get outside and all that. And as I lost connection with them, so the call went dead. And I'm like, oh my God. So I got myself outside and everything. Thankfully, they called me back right away. And so as soon as I got outside, I literally just like fell to the ground. And and then I asked him, I'm like, because it hadn't me not having been able to be there the whole time. I asked them, and I'm like, can I come there so I can be by his bedside? They put me on hold to go ask somebody else of authority if it was okay if I could be there. And they came back and said that yes, I could, but I'd have to gown up, I'd have to double mask. And I'm like, I don't care. And in my mind, I'm like, I would wear a hazmat suit if I had to, I didn't care. And so I'm like, okay. So one of my friends at work had drove me to the hospital because I was obviously in no condition whatsoever to be driving, and got a hold of my sister-in-law because I knew she would want to be there. And so when I got to the hospital, I told him, like I said, just so you know, I said, my sister-in-law is coming. And I said, just let her know I said, please make sure that she gets in and is able to be in there with me. And so we were both able to be by his bedside when he passed, and they intentionally left him hooked up to everything until she got there because they knew that once they disconnected everything, it was just going to be literally a matter of minutes, and it was too. And and just like that, it's like my world was shattered. It was turned upside down, and yeah, it was just. As you can tell, I remember it like it was yesterday, and it was a little bit over 4 years ago. Yeah,
It sounds like it. Brenda, I am so sorry. You
thank you.
had layer after layer of trauma. COVID was hard on everyone, but for those who actually lost loved ones, it was life-changing.
Yeah,
It changed everything. I'm so sorry.
thank you.
We had something that was new and it was really scary. And I think in some ways we made things worse in that separation, in that keeping people from their loved ones. I was just crossing my fingers as you were telling the story. Please let her come to him so she can be at his bedside as he passes. And I'm grateful that at least that tender mercy was given to you.
Yeah.
You had that moment to say goodbye. I imagine the 11 days of separation were heart-wrenching.
Oh my gosh. It was yeah, it was very heart-wrenching. It was horrible. It was like the other than the day that he passed away, it was like the next hardest thing that I had to deal with. Because it's like every day just not knowing and praying that he makes it through. Choked up even thinking about it.
Of course,
But
because
yeah,
we certainly wish it had turned out another way.
yeah.
And things don't always turn out the way that we hope. They don't always turn out with that happy ending that we get to be together and live happily ever after, whatever that looks like.
It's yeah,
And this is reality.
yeah.
And
I
it's
mean,
not just yours, but there are other people. And so I would love to hear what you have done to be able to get to a place where this was not the end for you too.
So after he passed, I mean, we had one thing I'm very, very grateful for was that this was because he pushed it. And he pushed on having those hard conversations that in the event anything were to happen to him. And when we had those like way, way, way long before any of this had happened. And so we had things in place. We had a trust in place, the wills in place. And so we had everything in order. And I'm glad that we had those conversations. And he said to me, he's like, if anything happens to me that I pass away before you do, he's like, which I will because you take care of yourself. I don't, was what he said. And then of course, I'm like, stop talking like that. And but he's like, you need to, because we had built a house out in the country on 7 acres of land, had a decent sized house. He had a shop, an 1,800 square foot shop that had, he was a boy with all the toys, between tractors, trailers, vehicles, snowmobiles, hoists, tools up the yin yang. It was just insane. But anyway, so he said, it's like, you need to sell all my stuff and sell the house and then get into someplace that you can manage on your own. So I was very laser focused because at the time the housing market was on fire. So in my head, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, and I'm like, do I really want to push on this to try and ride this wave that we're on with the housing market and everything so I can get a decent price for my house? And then, because I knew I wasn't going to want to stay there for one, because of the conversations we had. And then just, I mean, financially, emotionally, it just would have been all around just too much. And so I was on a mission on getting everything in order. I had to go through his entire shop, which was like full beyond, and sell all of his vehicles, equipment, tools, everything, which was an undertaking in itself. And thank God for family and friends that helped me out on sorting through everything that he had. Because if it wouldn't have been for them, I never would have got it done in the amount of time that I got it done in. And by February, I had the house sold. I did not have a place to move into yet, that was a scramble. And I remember like in February when the house was sold and not knowing where I was gonna go, I had never felt so empty in my entire life.
Mm,
Just having lost him, lost so had to sell our house, didn't have any place to go, not knowing where I was gonna go. And I literally sat there in the middle of the floor in our house and just cried because I'm like, I have never felt so empty in my entire life.
mm.
And and I had kind of to back up a little bit though, like towards the end of the year, I knew I needed to do something to help myself because I was just not in a good place. I just kind of like I really don't want to be here anymore. And to have like all these ugly thoughts kind of running through my head and all that, I'm like, this is not cool. And so the first thing that I did was, how it's like on social media, you're kind of how things just happen to come into your feed at the most unexpected time. So I came across the grief recovery method and had a meeting with the owner or the founder's son, and then he kind of explained to me what the process was and everything. And so it felt right. I resonated with it. So I had done, I think it was in January, I did a 4-day intensive workshop on this grief recovery method. And so I went through the program itself. And then on top of it, then I had decided that I'm like, well, I'm just going to, who knows where this might go? I'm just going to go through it and do the training in case I'm able to help somebody else down the road. So we did this 4 days intense workshop, which the program itself goes through like 8 weeks.
Oh,
And we crammed this in 4 days. So it was like so intense and emotionally intense. But the thing is, I went into that program feeling so lost and so broken. But then when I came out of it, when I was done, I felt so much lighter because that initial pain that I was feeling of him being literally felt like he was being ripped away from me. The no more the no more anniversaries, the no more hugs, the no more kisses, the no more birthdays, the no more vacations, just the no mores was just eating away at me and just killing me inside. Because how you do the picture boards for the funerals and everything. I had those in a spare bedroom with the door closed. And anytime I tried going in there, I couldn't go in there and look at those pictures without having a massive meltdown.
Oh.
And then after I had did that, I was at least able, not that the tears still didn't come, but I was at least able to kind of switch a little bit and just focus more on like, okay, like this absolutely sucks that he's no longer here with me. But dang, we had a lot of really good memories. So I was able to kind of put a little bit more focus on the memories instead of the loss.
Mm.
And and then kind of as time went on, then I kind of just took the rest of like 22 just to kind of get the get my act together. At least try to anyway. But even then though, I still knew I needed something else. I still feel like I wasn't, my healing journey still needed to move forward. And then I came across breathwork. And I had heard about breathwork, didn't know a whole lot about it. And when I had my now mentor, he had a free 5-day challenge. So I did that. I'm kind of like, okay. I'm curious to know more. So then he had a 30-day program. So I bought his 30-day program, did that. And so that had daily practices. But then within that program, there was we were given one full-blown transformational breathwork journey, which is a very active type of breathwork. You lay there and breathe actively for well over an hour.
Mm.
And I had seen some of the videos that they shared online and everything, and just the reactions, the bodily reactions people were having kind of like alarmed me. Like, wow, it was just insane. And so it took some courage to finally make myself do this, but I did it. And so glad that I did. It was absolutely amazing. And it was just unreal on how much emotions that I still had that needed to be released through my body, through the trembling, through the shaking, through the crying, through the screaming, all while I was doing this active breath work. And then when I got done with that, I'm laying there and I'm just like, holy crap. I'm like, that was amazing and insane all at the same time. And then the first thing I thought of was, I'm like, life is so challenging. We're constantly being thrown things, and like everybody should be doing this. And so it literally took that one breathwork journey for me, and I'm like, I want more. And then I went and I got trained as a breath coach, and then now a 90 breathwork facilitator. And then now this is what I'm sharing everything that I've gone through myself. I'm sharing with other people now.
That's wonderful. It's like, hey, this worked.
Yeah.
And you shared, there's so many different aspects. If I go back just a little bit in your story with loss, and it's not only the loss of the person and that fear of no more activities, no more vacations, no more. And I loved how you were able to switch it to gratitude for what you did have. That makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
And then all of the upheaval, physical upheaval, you are literally moved into a new place and then unknown and then moved to a new place again. So many changes, so
Yeah.
much to deal with, so much on your shoulders. And I'm grateful that you were able to attract or whatever you needed came into your life. It's like, here's something that can help you. Oh, here's something that could help you. And I'm grateful that you found these things. Now,
Yeah.
you've gone kind of through the grief, your grief recovery method, and then we went into breath work. And I'm assuming these are two separate things, correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Two
So
separate.
I am also a breathwork facilitator. And so let's
Ah, okay.
explain to people who hear you say when you're doing this breathing that you have yelling and screaming and all of these emotions come up, and people who have never experienced it before are probably thinking, what are you talking about? I breathe
Right.
all day, every day. In fact, it's so easy. I can breathe while I'm sleeping. And I've never had anything like that. So let's kind of help people become aware of what breath work, what an active breath work session can do for you. This is a somatic healing where
Right.
it literally is released from your body, and it's
Correct.
done through breathing in a specific way. Now, I'm not familiar with 9D. Can you explain that one to me a little bit?
So the 9D is the audio piece of it. So it's nine-dimensional audio. So we have, there's I know I'm not going to remember all the nine layers, but there's helium frequencies in there, there's subliminal messaging in there, and all the audio is geared towards, it starts out on the calmer side, and then as the majority of them anyway, depending upon if it's active or if it's a more down regulation. But so we start out with a calmer music. And then
Hmm.
while the music is playing, so we want to have the headphones on because it's like you're because we have this, it's called a 90s cinematic trailer, which is absolutely amazing. And it's really weird because it sounds like you have something over on the right side, you hear it in your right ear, and all of a sudden you hear it going around your head over into your other ear.
Oh, that's cool.
It's just like it's
Okay.
absolutely wild. But but yeah, so we have the we start out calm doing the active breath work, and then as about at least definitely at least half of maybe three-quarters of the way through, and then we kind of build up into this whole breath work journey. And then a lot of them have built up into this somatic release, into this scream. And I was like, the
Hmm.
people don't have to scream, but we just invite them to scream because it's such a massive, massive energy release. And then we kind of go through that, and then we kind of start calming them back down again and doing more. They're still doing the active breath work, but just not as intense. So the music calms down then as well. And then at the end, we call them like energy bubbles. And that's when we were able to, because of all the active breath work that they were doing, they were able to get that monkey mind to shut down. And we're able to start tapping into that subconscious mind to start the rewiring and the reprogramming so that we finish off our journeys with, we call them like energy bubbles. And those are just so beautiful. It can be so healing themselves because it kind of takes you back. And then we kind of afterwards, after the journey's done with them, we have like our integration time. Because some people, like a lot of the clients that they go through that, they're like, what just happened?
Yeah, yeah. It's surprising. It is really
Yeah,
surprising what that can do for you. And that
yeah.
the chance to be able to let things go that were hidden to yourself, that
Hmm.
are in there and they become part of our body. Are you familiar with The Body Keeps a Score by
Yep,
Dr.
yeah,
Russell
yeah.
Brand? Okay. So I appreciate that the research verifies what a lot of people have known already, that when we have experiences, they literally become trapped in our body. And using somatic healing through our body, is such a wonderful healing method that works. We can't always solve everything by just talking and
Right.
listening. So
Yeah,
including all of us to be able to heal and to be able to let those things go is transformational.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and just knowing, because when I went through all the training and everything, I didn't realize about the whole generational trauma
Hmm.
and then how much that we're carrying in our bodies that's not even ours.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit more? Do you remember anything that you were carrying?
Um, I know there was stuff that I was able to identify with my mom and dad.
Hmm.
Because I know there was like with my mom, she had a really bad relationship with her dad. And because there was just a lot of just a lot that I don't want to get into all the personal stuff, but there was just a lot between the two of them. And I remember going through one of the breathwork journeys, which was actually about healing ancestral lines.
Mm.
And and then the two of them actually came to me while I was in that journey. And I knew immediately that I'm like, okay, I know where this is coming from. And it
Mm.
was that relationship between the two of them.
Isn't it wonderful that we can heal things? Sometimes it gets confusing. It's like, why am I carrying so many things? But it
Right?
comes. There's another book, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, by Mark Wolin, called It Didn't Start With You, where he
That one
talks about the those ancestral issues that we have, where it's like, something is off, and I can't even pinpoint something in my story that would match why I would feel that way or why I would have that story. And he talks about epigenetics and how we can carry things through generation. It's a good book. But just as we realize, we are connected. We are connected to our ancestors, we are connected to our children. There's a connection beyond just the things that we see, and often beyond the things that we are aware of. So it's beautiful that those things that affect us can also be healed through us, and we can create generational healing, which is lovely.
Yeah. 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 I'm so glad that I came across it and that I actually decided, I'm like, you know what, I just felt like I needed to try it. And I'm so glad that I did. So glad.
Good. Well, I'm glad. Yeah, this is something that I think is becoming more popular as more people are becoming aware. But when a lot of times if you hear it for the first time, it sounds ridiculous. And if you
Yeah. I'm
see,
like,
an image of breathing, there's someone who's holding still and having this
what?
calm feeling and look about them. And the active breath work is very, very different from those
Yes.
images that you see. You
Yeah.
mentioned shaking. You can have shaking. You can have, you could be cold. You could be hot. There's,
The numbing, there's tingling.
absolutely, or even
Um,
fingers can cramp up. You
yep.
can
Yep.
have muscle
What I call like
crampness,
tetany.
all sorts of things as your body is just having this chance to say, oh, thank you for letting me get rid of this that I've just been carrying forever. But the process of letting it go, it can be surprising.
Yeah. Yeah. When I work with clients, if they're like first people coming in, it's like, I mean, I have my introduction to kind of go through what for them, what possibly might come up,
Mhm.
the emotional side of it, the physical side of it, and then the mental piece of it. So I go through all of that and I ask them, I'm like, you're in a safe space, just be vulnerable and let whatever your body wants to do, let it do it. But also know that you're in control of it as well. So I kind of explain that you have the ability to slow down if things feel a little bit too intense and you're just not ready to go there. So it's like then you just put the brakes on, start breathing in and out through your mouth, through your nose, and then once you're ready to get back into it, into the active breath work, then start breathing in and out through your mouth again. And I still even some of the first ones, they're still kind of, even though I share things that might come out, they're still kind of hesitant and they don't
Mhm.
go all in. And once in a while, it takes maybe like 2 or 3 sessions before they really get into it. Like, okay, now I can be a little bit more comfortable. I can kind of have an idea of what to expect, and it varies per person.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
it can be very helpful to know this is what to expect. And yet, even when you hear something versus experiencing it, it's different. And
yeah,
I loved how you said, we have that ability to pull back and say, you know what, I don't want to go there. But when we have that courage to push through and to work through it, we can see amazing healing and amazing changes take place. And it's mind blowing what can be done with such a simple tool that is accessible to all of us.
yeah, yeah. I remember having a few clients that I mean, their body was going through certain things, and then once after we were done with the session, and I was talking with them, it's like, and they don't even remember it. They don't remember their body going through certain things. And
Interesting.
I'm like, wow. I'm like, okay.
And that's okay because they
Yeah,
didn't need to be aware of what it was doing. Their body
yeah,
was releasing what it needed to release.
yeah. And it
And,
did.
and it did.
And it
Wow.
did. Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. This has been delightful. Is there anything else you would like to make sure that we cover before we close today?
I just would like to kind of share the message that if you're whatever healing journey that you're going through, especially if it's like a grief journey, because we not only grieve over losing a loved one, we grieve over many things. So not only did I grieve the loss of my husband, but I also grieved the loss of my own identity because I had to figure out who I was
Mm,
without him. you know, and but just know that the grief and joy can coexist.
that's a beautiful message. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for visiting with me today, Brenda.
Absolutely. I loved every minute of it. Thank you.
In closing, I'd like to share a quote by Marcus Aurelius. He said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Today, I invite our listeners to embrace their inner strength so they can live a life filled with energy, joy, and purpose. despite outside events. See you next time on Linda's Corner. Thanks for tuning in to Linda's Corner podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with your friends to help us inspire even more listeners. Be sure to visit hopeforhealingfoundation.org for free and affordable resources to help you overcome life's challenges. And explore healingbreathworkdetox.com, where you'll find transformative tools for deep inner healing and lasting change. Also, don't forget to check out my books, Crushed, A Journey Through Depression, and You Got This, an action plan to calm fear, anxiety, worry, and stress. Your journey to hope, healing, and happiness starts here.